first time she's seen her father in 5 weeks. Fred Scott has just been recalled from filming in India. He's only been home for a day and is getting ready to leave again.
I have to end her off a bit here. She definitely does not want to be lying down. It's really absurd, but it's the only thing that seems to make her happy.
The coming war in Iraq will take Fred away for who knows how long. A short conflict has been predicted, but nobody is betting on that. Darren Conway's war journey begins in a small hotel room in Soho. He's just flown in from a grueling assignment in Asia. Known as DC to his colleagues, he's usually based in Singapore. But he rarely spends more than a few weeks a year at home.
Well, there's not much happening out there in Soho tonight, but I have to tell you I'd much prefer to be out there than in here with this little nightmare. Just wanted to show you what's keeping me indoors on a Thursday night.
He's been told to prepare for any situation, so must pack all of his equipment just in case.
You'll see all this in action: the torch to go on the head, medical pack here, fill up with petrol for cooking.
DC is to be embedded with the Royal Marines from 40 Commando. That means he'll live with them throughout the fighting, but he knows little more than that. Fred Scott will be operating unilaterally, independent of the military. It's potentially a very dangerous assignment, and a long goodbye too painful for everybody. The BBC's camera operators are deployed with news correspondents. Asia correspondent Clive Myrie joins DC at London's Heathrow Airport. They're colleagues and comrades, relying on each other.
You ready to go, Clive?
Yeah, ready to go. We're heading off to Bahrain in a couple of hours, and then from there,
Fred Scott will work alongside John Simpson, the BBC's World Affairs editor. Refused entry into Baghdad, he's heading for northern Iraq.
How many pieces of luggage have we got, Augie?
Probably about 120.
This unilateral team needs to be totally flexible and self-sufficient. Across the world, BBC teams are getting on planes and heading towards war. They know there are many risks ahead. DC and Clive are heading first to Bahrain, where they're to meet their military escorts. Fred and John's team is heading to Turkey, and from there by road, hopefully, to northern Iraq. Television, it sometimes seems, is mostly about luggage, the cases and cases of equipment that make TV news possible.
Like Spinal Tap.
Cameraman Dragan Petrovic waits for the news of the birth of his first child, back home in Belgrade. The rest of the team use the available facilities before making their long journey. They're heading for a border that's normally closed, but the Turks have briefly opened the frontier. It's a rare chance for journalists to get into northern Iraq.
Well, this is our 4th day into this journey. Probably more time I've spent on a bus going into an assignment than I can remember. One hilarious frustration after another. At least it seems funny now. we're basically being snowed out of a conflict that's supposed to have a deadline to do with heat.
As unilateral or independent operators, Fred and John's team can expect no help from the Allied military. Here the talk is of a US attack from northern Iraq that will open a second front. The team will base themselves in Erbil, but are hoping to move quickly across collapsing front lines and get into Baghdad as the city falls.
Hello, this is my hotel room in Erbil. Haven't used the big run-up camera yet at all. Plan being that we're just going to basically stay here as long as we can, so long as it seems as if our chances of getting into Baghdad from here will happen. One slightly worrying development is that it seems the Turks may have closed the back door on us, which would make getting out and trying another way into Baghdad either impossible or difficult. But at least at the moment it seems like if we wanted to leave to try something else, the Turks would be mad not to let us out. I would have thought they'd be pretty happy to see the back of us.
On the other side of the Middle East, DC and Clive have reached Bahrain. They're ferried by sea and air to the Arabian Gulf. HMS Ocean is to be their base, and it's here that they link up with the Marines. From now on, DC and Clive will be living with the troops of 40 Commando. War is coming closer. This is Erbil in northern Iraq. Right now it seems the ideal base for Fred and John. They can try to get to Baghdad from here and cover a possible US invasion from the north. What they don't realize is that Turkey isn't going to allow US troops to cross its territory into northern Iraq. For the independent operator, covering war is often about getting lucky.
They know that nobody's going to come across that border, but equally, I don't want to get there right at the last moment. I mean, I want to start broadcasting in those last days, 1 or 2 days before it happens. I want all of that stuff about people clearing out the city, going silent, people driving into the countryside, that sense of real despair and genuine fear that they're going to have. You know, closing down everything around them. That's what I've got to be there for that. They won't. I don't just want to be there suddenly, you know, popping up like a jack in the box the moment the first missile lands. I want to be expected to be roughed up and shoved around and accused of all sorts of things. And chucked in a very unpleasant jail. But I'd be amazed if anything. I thought you were the last. Yes, that's right. As we're standing there with the blindfolds on. Yes, John. You said you'd be amazed. Sorry. Does anybody seem to be listening to us or not?
On HMS Ocean, the Royal Marines are getting ready for war. Clive and DC prepare as well. They have to make tough choices. They can only take what they can carry in their rucksacks. But they do cram in a few creature comforts.
I love the chocolate. Most of your rations chocolate.
Is he allowed to take Tabasco?
Yes. Sure is. Tabasco is very important.
What's this, Yemen?
That is radio equipment.
Do you need that?
I'll need some of it. There's the microphone and the mini display, but everything else can go.
Equipment takes priority over clothing.
That's a cool kid.
Can't take it.
No amount of begging would convince Sergeant Stevie Ray into allowing DC take more than one change of clothes.
Steve, you think Clive should bring his iron then?
Stevie, I can take my iron.
I think that's more essential. They get sleeping clothes.
Oh dear. It seemed a good idea at the time, honestly, it did.
Oh,
Iraq. Still in Erbil. The plan is emerging. We want to get into Baghdad ahead of the shooting, which, as far as we know, could begin about the 14th. We need to be into Baghdad well ahead of anything that starts to kick off militarily, because once then all bets are off. It becomes extremely dangerous. U.S. forces are very unlikely to allow any movement along the roads, you know, either through the use of checkpoints or just the sheer danger of being picked off from the sky over some misidentification, which is fairly easy to do, what we thought.
It's an absolute bloody disaster. And the thing that really gets me is that all these characters, you know, are going to be embedded and perfectly safe in the care of the US and British armies, have absolutely everything.
The worry is that the unilaterals, teams working outside the protection of the military, will be much more vulnerable to attack from both sides.
You know, so much of this is psychological anyway, isn't it? I just don't like the idea that the poor little sod on whom we rely to a large extent is going to feel defenseless. I know what it's like sitting next to people that are all kitted up and you haven't got it doesn't feel good, you know. That's all there's the press.
Yeah, in Arabic.
Have we got BBC in English too, have we? I mean, in you know.
We've got the stickers, BBC.
Big ones?
No, only small ones.
And we need to have a TV on the roof.
Yeah.
Or do we need that? Or is the orange enough?
I think the orange plus TV will be fine, and we'll do that with gaffer tape.
Yes.
They discuss markings for their vehicles that will identify them as non-combatants to both sides, and critically, from the air.
This is press.
That's press in Arabic.
Yes.
Sahafiyya.
Sorry?
Sahafiyya.
Sahafiyya.
Important thing to start shouting at a certain point.
On board ship, DC and Clive are preparing their first broadcast stories. With a laptop and a satellite phone, the team should be able to edit and transmit their material from almost anywhere. But there's a hitch. The ship keeps circling, and the dish can't lock on to the satellite. In perfect conditions, a 3-minute story should take about 1 hour to send.
Yes! Woo!
But the conditions are anything but perfect, and at the end of a long day's filming, they can regularly expect to be transmitting late into the night.
One story is 2 minutes 15 seconds long. It has so far taken about 4 hours and 15 to send, and it's still nowhere near finished yet. The glamorous life of television, you got it right here.
These are Royal Marines, the Navy's crack land fighting troops, its forward fighting arm. We're not allowed to say how many are on board.
These men will be in the front line of any assault on Iraq, while diplomacy is given a chance far away in New York and Washington. These Royal Marines are preparing for war.
The floating fortresses maintain their course, destination classified for now. Clive Myrie, BBC News, aboard HMS Ocean in the northern Arabian Gulf.
Far away in the north, Fred and John are exploring the front line. There's still plenty of civilian traffic coming from Saddam's republic. John and translator Cameron quiz drivers for news from across the front line. The stories are of a crackdown, people forced into hiding.
Looking up towards Iraq. Well, I mean, this is Iraq, but Saddam's Iraq. Wondering when we're going to get across to that
frontier.
The
latest from the Northern Front. Our World Affairs editor John Simpson is there. He reports on how the Kurds are preparing for the expected American arrival.
This is no man's land. The positions on the ridge are occupied by the Iraqi army. And these, close up, are the Iraqi soldiers who are defending Saddam Hussein's front line. We filmed them discreetly from a ruined building close by. A senior Iraqi officer heads off on a tour of inspection with his escort following. But how determined is the Iraqi army to defend Saddam? What's going through the minds of his soldiers as war presumably gets closer?
Right, tough, that's us, mate.
And war is now very close. On HMS Ocean, the order has come to move. After months of waiting, the troops spring into action. The soldiers are bombing up. This is when they're given the ammunition they'll take with them into Iraq. DC says goodbye to the security of the ship. Ahead, the desert and uncertainty. That writing on the flak jacket, DC's blood group in case he's wounded. Marines and journalists are heading for the Kuwaiti desert. DC and Clive worry that travelling with the Marines, they'll only see what the military wants them to see. It's the dilemma of the embedded journalist. Being embedded also means sharing the discomfort and danger with the troops. In the desert, the Marines dig in. So do DC and Clive.
Oh yeah, baby.
Oh
You are a serious grunt now.
Clive and I have just set up camp here with the rest of the 40 Commando. You can see they're pretty well dug in over here. Probably more dug in than any other of the units at the moment. This will be our temporary home until we go into Iraq, and nobody really knows when that's going to be. Next couple of days, we presume. Maybe still not. But here's our tents at the moment. Clive and I are sleeping in this two-man tent over here, which is a lot more like a one-man tent, so we're going to be closer than we've ever been before. And down here is our equipment tent. So we've just got all of the equipment we need to file is pretty much stored in there. Camera over there. The problem out here obviously is sandstorms. We're expecting one or two in the next couple of days, which is why we came early off Ocean anyway.
A classic lonely road on a front line. Northern Iraq. It is a landscape devoid of hiding places.
Nice doggy. As you can see, it's slightly, in terms of us coming whizzing down, it's slightly exposed as far as the Iraqi lines are concerned.
Yes, it can be seen for
a large sat dish would be
50 kilometers in every direction.
The only good thing about this road is the truck with the sat dish.
They're not very accurate.
Here, not a problem.
They'll hit the car behind every time.
Yeah.
Looks like we might have to do a bit of walking.
You got that map here?
Today, the Peshmerga guerrillas take the team to a position just a few hundred yards from the Iraqi line. They've come for a view of the oil fields where the opening battle of the war may erupt. But remember, if they can see the Iraqis, there's a good chance the Iraqis can see them.
Well, we were just on that ridge trying to get some shots of oil wells or any sort of petroleum. Took a certain amount of risk doing that, and the pictures I got, I just don't think it was kind of worth the exercise. But
On the way back, the team relax. Abdullah is a photographer friend from Afghanistan. He's a close member of the team and an inventive singer.
Sunshiny day, sunshiny day, sunshiny day.
Very good, very good, yay.
Okay, here's the dilemma. We have nerve agent pre-treatment tablets. Now, you're only supposed to take these, Clive, when I would say the indications are very strong that there is going to be nerve agents used, and when the indications are very strong that we'll be going to war, correct?
That's right. The drugs have been linked to Gulf War syndrome, which is blamed for making many soldiers ill in the last Gulf conflict. But with the danger of chemical attack, do DC and Clive dare risk not taking them?
This is a combat pack. It's kept down here in the respirator pack. You jab this thing here in your thigh. Big needle comes out, this big. 1.5 needle. You lie on the ground. 2 millimeters wide. You jam it in your thigh, and then you hold it there for 10 seconds. And it's full of atropine, full of atropine. So this apparently is not much use or not as effective if taken alone.
It helps, but it's not as good unless you have this stuff too.
So this is our conduit. I've got to make our minds up now.
Okay, I'm going to take 1, yeah?
1.
DC decides against taking naps. In the desert, the last hours before war are counted down.
President Bush gave Saddam Hussein 48 hours to leave Iraq and his sons to leave Iraq yesterday. So that would make the end of the deadline Wednesday night into Thursday morning local time, which suggests to us, and indeed to a lot of the guys here, that we could be ready to attack Iraq Thursday evening.
We're in a sticky situation where we know exactly what's going on. We've been told the plan. We know that 40 Commando will be the first people, the first military group into Iraq with the Navy SEALs, a small group of Navy SEALs, only 50 of them. We know all this juicy information, and we're in the desert with these guys. They're preparing themselves for battle. It's an amazing situation, yet we can't report on it because there's nothing we can say. We're in a blackout. Clive can't go on air because they're going to ask him questions that we really can't answer because we're being held secrecy on that. So it's tough for us. We've got all the equipment, we're ready to go, but unfortunately at this point it's been 2 days since we've filed anything. We just can't get anything out, so that's the situation we're in at the moment.
Across the region, more than 300 BBC journalists and technicians are waiting. They're a long way from home and the conditions are tough. For many, desert sands are the greatest torment.
Good morning, Starshine. Good morning. How are you? A bit dusty? A little bit. Just a bit. Only half a ton of sand in my throat, half a ton of sand in my eyes. It's a considerable amount in my ears. Another night in the desert. Camping out in a sleeping bag, about 10 clicks to the Iraqi border. Not bad at all. Got to have a shave in the desert. No, God, geez, I look ordinary, don't I? Shave soon. And get ready for another day's outing. See what happens. Oh, good luck.
I was going to go to Ibiza this year, but Oh, you know, it was a bit expensive, and I've been there a few too many times before. And Bali's a bit of a mess. And I heard that they were doing some great deals in northern Kuwait.
It's my first. We've been here, what, a week? And it's just really, really good. Can't recommend it enough. Who needs hotels? Actually, scratch that. We all need hotels very badly.
I haven't been meaning to tell you this, mate, but you've been stinking. You've been stinking like a stale ferret for the last 2 weeks.
I think we're going the wrong way now.
Shower time for DC. It's a good 200-300 yards up ahead of us, but that's what's up ahead of us. A huge sandstorm. Visibility is probably a couple of 100 yards.
What was disgusting was my t-shirt.
Jeez. First shower in days. There's a sandstorm going on outside. It's really bad. Probably the only shower we're going to have for who knows how long, because we think we're going into Iraq probably tomorrow. So a very, very, very big moment for all of us right now.
What's a war without beer?
This worries us, our friends and allies. I think the Arab world is worried.
The last chance for some sleep before war.
On the one hand, we've been very critical.
It's sounding like a no, it's not wise to me.
Well, I think there
are our friends and allies, and they are the ones who are most worried right now. You know, I mean, I just heard what Jane was saying, seemed to make a division between...
Listen.
In Baghdad, the BBC's team waits in the dark.
It's 2 or 3, if not more.
For Raggy Omar and his colleagues, this nerve-jangling wait for the bombers has become a nightly ritual.
A massive air campaign has begun. Baghdad has been under heavy bombardment tonight.
A massive aerial assault on Iraq has begun.
It could be the beginning of the much promised shock and awe campaign. I'm looking out in the city skyline. It's covered by pools of smoke rising hundreds of feet in the air. There's traces of fire in the sky as well. The anti-aircraft gunners trying their best, but more in vain to try and shoot down any
American and coalition forces are in the early stages of military operations to disarm Iraq.
3 missiles fired from just over the border in Iraq are heading our way in the northern Kuwaiti desert, and they could be loaded with chemical or biological agents. Along with everybody else, I take cover in a nearby ditch.
Gas, 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 gas.
The threat of chemical and biological attacks was one of the early terrors of the war.
For those journalists working alongside the troops, like the BBC's Hilary Anderson, the mask has to be worn as the work goes on.
I have to say that I was a good few yards away from my gas mask, which is not very clever. I had to head across the field. I think I probably made it in 9 seconds. I certainly ran like Linford Christie without the mask.
You look around, everybody's down in there. There we go. Everyone's down in their hole and they're digging. They're all waiting for further instructions. And this is pretty serious stuff.
The Iraqi missiles are being launched from just across the border. For DC and Clive, the psychological pressure from all of this is immense.
Oh shit, they're putting on their whole suits. Fuck that. Haven't even left Kuwait yet. We're sitting in the desert. It's Wednesday. I think, the toughest day so far. Today was incredibly sandy. We had dust storms for hours, sandstorms for hours. You couldn't see really 20 feet in front of you, which poses a huge problem with the equipment. I mean, so we spent most of the day just worrying about the kit. There's no use sort of going into war, into Iraq tomorrow, finding out that none of the kit works, and then today was just a shock for equipment. So we spent most of the time sort of just worrying about it, and then the rest of the time being grumpy.
Our World Affairs editor, John Simpson, is just a mile or so from the Iraqi front line.
Well, Hugh, perhaps I first ought to explain where we are. We're out here in no man's land, beyond the Kurdish front line. We're told that American special...
In the north, Fred Scott uses a night vision lens to capture these images of Kurdish fighters. Night after night, Fred films from the vantage point of a cemetery. The Allies are bombing Iraqi positions across the front line. Some Iraqis are deserting and are shot at by their own comrades. The shock waves of the American bombs roll across the countryside. The team wonder what it's like to suffer such bombardment. But the Iraqi lines are holding, blocking the road south. The team has now been waiting in northern Iraq for 6 weeks, every day and night wondering if they'll ever get across and south to Baghdad. Waiting is tiring and frustrating, so much a part of Fred Scott's life on the road.
I'm 41 years old. I just got married last summer. This is my wife Ava and my brand new baby daughter Cleo. I took this photograph of them 3 months ago. I'm contracted to do this kind of work for 180 days a year, but sometimes I'll do 200. All of that is a long way from home. All of my closest friends do the same job. One of the first friends I made was Sebastian Foy, and he died 2 days ago in Beijing from cancer. He was 46.
In the desert, the Royal Marines from 40 Commando are about to head into Iraq. DC and Clive will be with them. They'll be the first journalists to enter Iraq with coalition forces. In the darkness, the machines of war are ready to take off. Nobody here knows what's waiting on the other side.
It was a nerve-wracking flight. On board we felt vulnerable to anti-aircraft and artillery fire. Flying low beneath Iraqi radar made us easy targets for anyone with a decent rifle. The 20-minute journey felt like a lifetime.
The team arrives with the Marines in the middle of the war zone. Dawn, and Clive and DC haven't slept for 24 hours.
Well, basically, move to our front, okay?
A few hours later, we're on the move. We've been told a hardcore element of Saddam Hussein supporters based in the local Ba'ath Party headquarters could cause problems. Soon enough, gunshots ring out and we take cover. It takes a while to pinpoint exactly where the shots are coming from. We are slowly being sucked into a street fight. It seems the gunfire has been coming from the police station down here, and there are reports of gunmen positioned on some of the rooftops. This is the kind of urban warfare no Marine wants to fight.
DC and Clive stay with the Marines every inch of the way.
We are receiving harassing occasional fire from the northwest.
We're basically going to do a sprint from here to that building. Fuck the fire manoeuvre, zigzagging like fuck. You understand? Go on, I'm going first. Motherfuckers.
Do we have to climb the fence?
Yeah.
It looks like the...
They move fast to avoid snipers. The Marines have been attacking since dawn. It's late afternoon and DC and Clive are exhausted.
Right here. Do not fucking fire unless you are positively certain that it's fucking enemy.
The Americans join the attack from the air. The Marines are now maneuvering into attack position. DC switches to his night lens. Nobody has slept now for over 36 hours. Exhausted, but Clive and DC are keeping up.
We've been involved in a firefight with Iraqi soldiers, so it seems, all day long. It's quite a lot of them. We don't really know how many, but they've put up quite a fight. So it seems like we've now found them, or the guys from Alpha Company have now located them. They're in the Ba'ath Party headquarters, which is just behind this wall, 15 meters away only. And the soldiers are getting ready now, I think, to take them on. I mean, they've got lads downstairs. There's soldiers upstairs who are lined up amongst this wall, and they have an amazing amount of military might here. We're told that within 5 minutes from now, they're just gonna launch an attack on the headquarters here. So this is what it comes down to, I guess. I mean, you know, I think I'm just seeing that they're starting to move now. You know, I guess one of the reasons we do this is to be able to show people exactly what's going on. Well, we're now in a position to do that right at the front line, right in the middle of an attack, and I think it's about to unleash itself right now. So that's the best we can do, is keep low. I'll stay as low as I can while pointing the camera over top. Whew. It's pretty exhausting stuff. Okay, I think they're ready to go, so... Alright, here we go.
By now, DC has gained the Marines' trust, and it allows him to get closer than ever before to combat. Marine casualties. Suddenly one of the soldiers is set alight. One Marine is wounded, 7 Iraqis are believed dead. But being embedded, the team have no way of checking this. In the north, the Americans are intensifying their bombing. The Kurds watch the Iraqi lines buckle. deserter told the team it was beyond horrifying. US Special Forces guide the aircraft to their targets.
Two more and same target, same target.
Beneath this terror, the Iraqi line breaks and troops run for their lives. Tentatively, the team follows the advancing Kurds as they move into Iraqi positions. They're clearing Iraqi anti-tank mines, immensely powerful explosives. This is the most dangerous kind of warfare. Fluid front lines with aircraft hunting for targets. As the Kurds advance further, John Simpson and Fred Scott see individual vehicles that have been blasted from the air.
John.
The missiles target with deadly effect. With the push gathering momentum, the Simpson team think they may at last be on the road to Baghdad. The Royal Marines are advancing along the Al Faw Peninsula towards Basra. For DC and Clive, there was little rest.
Tonight we know there's another attack happening. It's at a place called Abu al-Qasib. It's a strategic position on the outskirts of Basra. The Marines from 40 Commando have got to get in fast, attack a bridge area and secure it. We do know there's a lot of opposition there, a lot of resistance. So we're heading off now. It's not long before dawn. I'm just going to get up and move actually because it's too heavy to stop. So we've got the backpack and then the camera. All of it is very, very hard to carry, especially when there's a lot going on around you. So anyway, we're heading off now just to give you an idea of the weight involved. And then I guess the next pictures that you'll see will be, you know, whether or not this attack happens, which we think it is, will be from the front.
The night will show the strengths and expose the limitations of being embedded. As flares fall, the battleground is illuminated. DC and Clive are in a soft-skinned vehicle, unlike the heavy armoured tanks they pass on the roadside. They're extremely vulnerable.
Just look around.
A piece to camera, a routine element of television.
The firefight's been underway now for about 15 minutes. We don't know exactly.
It's anything but routine under these circumstances.
About 15 minutes now. It's unclear exactly how many Iraqi troops are up ahead of us.
DC and Clive must watch out for each other. The Marines have reached their objective, but there's stiff resistance. Staying calm in this chaos is vital. Rocket-propelled grenades fly overhead. DC needs a shot of Clive witnessing the battle.
Stand up a bit.
This is dramatic footage, but there's no big picture. No idea of how many Iraqis are being killed. DC does manage to film a wounded Iraqi being treated. And that night, there's news of other casualties.
I know for a fact that some of our colleagues have been hurt, and I fear some have been killed. Most of the people that are in these frontline positions are people that we work with in most hostile environments around the world. As you can imagine, it becomes quite a club. Well, not a club, but you know, a group of friends who experience pretty hard stuff together. So you become close. And I've heard through the radio today, well, in previous days leading up to this, that some of our colleagues have been hurt, presumed dead even, some missing. Very close friend of mine, very close. Friend has been injured, I believe.
There's not a single car up here.
As the roads open up, Fred and John Simpson are heading deeper into Iraq. Empty roads, often the scariest sight for war reporters.
Be careful about the mine because they are cleaning the mine.
Okay, fair enough. Be careful where you walk.
They meet a team of Kurds clearing mines. They join the convoy of Kurdish troops and American special forces. It seems the safest course of action.
Well, we're all, you know, if there is any kind of bang bang, we're all really hemmed in nicely, aren't we? Do you want me to take that?
No, I've got my jacket on.
Hi, look, we are advancing. We've gone well over the ridge. We're in a big convoy of serious-looking general types and a lot of weaponry. There's air support firing around over our heads. It all looks quite promising.
In a few moments, many of these men will be dead.
Get down.
What's it? This guy right beside you.
You're right. I think they fucking hit their own forward vehicle. This guy's in back.
An American has called in an airstrike against an Iraqi tank, but somehow it's gone disastrously wrong. The missile hits the convoy.
Keep down. Just gotta be careful because there's ammo. It's cooking off. That's the problem. It's cooking off. What? The ammo's cooking off. Stay down.
Just turn towards me, Fred.
Yeah, give it to
Fred, just turn towards me, mate.
Fuck. How's my eye?
You're all bloody.
Let's have a look. Can I? Yeah, I think it's just the eyelashes. I think it's the...
You should be all right. I think we'll be fine.
Hey!
Well, they're just gonna fuck off. Hey!
Oh, fuck.
They fear a second attack.
Let's wait for them to call these guys off. I saw it. White body, red fucking nose.
I saw the same thing. Black. It came down black, and then Jesus, I can't believe it. Saw the fucking bomb. Was it one or two?
It's just one.
Have you called your friends off? Excuse me.
Hi. Hello.
Have you called them off?
Have you called them off?
Amazingly, a wounded Fred Scott keeps filming.
Great, you okay?
Yeah, we're fine, to London. I've told them what's happened.
Let me do a report.
Yes. There you go, John. American own goal. Yeah, there's Cameron lying down on the grass.
The team and the Special Forces medics give what help they can. But for many of those injured, it is too late.
Nothing I can do about that throat. Put a tourniquet on both legs, patch the whole thing.
Cameron, stay with me, guys.
Come on, Cameron.
A tourniquet.
You all right, Fred?
Yeah.
This is just a scene from hell here. All the vehicles on fire. There's bodies burning around me. There's bodies lying around. There's bits of bodies on the ground. This is a really bad own goal by the Americans. We don't know how many Americans are dead.
Sit down.
I'm fine. Just look at me quickly. Yeah, this is just a bit of shrapnel. It should
Yeah.
be all right.
Yeah, you got anything else anywhere?
No, I'm fine.
Let me see, Ryan. Open it up. Okay, good. Feel anything else? You got nothing else anywhere else, huh? Here, hold that on there.
Can you give me one as well, please?
Huh?
Can you give me one so I can just stick it on here?
Right.
Over here.
That's the best I can do, Freddie. I'm sorry. Is Abdul Basir okay?
Yeah, everyone's fine.
Ali?
I haven't seen Abdullah, and I have Cameron is very seriously injured.
Hey.
I'm going to go and see if I can get some stuff out of the car.
All right. Yes, salvage as much as you can. Tone has a fall.
We're okay, Cameron. It's all dying. We're here.
All right, man.
Hang on in.
The translator, Cameron Abdul Razak, has been seriously injured.
Cameron, you got to do this for me. You just got to stay still and don't move.
Fred's friend, Abdullah, the Afghan photographer, is missing.
I haven't seen the Afghan guys with us.
It hit. He was taking pictures of us, and I heard it coming in. And I kind of turned away and ducked, and
I think he's gone.
I thought he went this way.
Craig, have you seen Abdullah?
No, we're looking for him now, Fred.
John, he's not under this car, is he?
I don't know how.
Much of what's happened here will be judged too gory to be broadcast. Translator Cameron Abdul Razak died soon after. Everybody in the team has been injured and profoundly shocked. Later, Fred will find Abdullah in hospital. He's wounded, but he survives. John Simpson and producer Tom Giles continued on to Baghdad.
That's it, Fred. I'm going home, mate.
Fred Scott went home for medical treatment.
I've lost half the hearing in my left ear. I've been told it will probably ring for the rest of my life. But for this, I'm actually very grateful. I'm home and I'm well. We're told the public doesn't want to see anything like the full extent of what we witness in film. If an army takes a shot at you, there's no comeback for that. There'll be no redress. So why do I continue to do it? Well, I love it. I can't imagine not showing up. How much longer can I continue putting my young family through this? The worry every time I step out that door. I'm going to have to hang this up someday. That's definite. I mean, there is a limit. But I know I'm going to miss it.
DC and Clive continued into Basra with the Royal Marines and stayed there until the regime fell.
Well, here I am back at home. At least I've spent so much time in airports that it's starting to feel like home. The war, wow, what an experience. I was embedded, and I found that process a lot better than I thought it was going to be. As a journalist, I do worry that you know, we're not showing every side of the story. I mean, fundamentally, that's our jobs, and we couldn't do that when we could only really see it from the soldier's perspective.
DC is moving on again.
It's easy for us, however. We do get to leave at the end of the day. I mean, you know, we go into people's lives, we affect them one way or another, and then we leave. And I do worry about whether it's worthwhile.
"15 journalists would die bringing the Iraq story to the world. Both embedded and unilateral journalists took extraordinary risks to report the conflict. Few of the camera teams ever appeared on your television screen, but the story of the war could never have been told without them.